Ask anybody. To be fluent in a language, you have to study abroad. I studied Spanish all 4 years of high school, but I was never fluent because I never set foot in Spain. Well, my childhood was one big study abroad in white culture, followed by studying abroad in black culture during college and then my years in the NFL, which I spent on teams with 80 to 90% black players, each of whom had his own experience of being a person of color in America. Now, I'm fluent in both cultures, black and white. The book you're listening to is what I want to do with that perspective. We're in the midst of the greatest pandemic in recent times, which has a potential to be the greatest pandemic of all time. Friends, wear your masks and wash your hands. However, the longest-lasting pandemic in this country is a virus not of the body, but of the mind, and it's called racism. I'm not sure if we can cure racism completely, but I also believe that as we rush to find a vaccine for COVID-19, we should be pursuing with equal determination a cure for the virus of racism and oppression. The ultimate logic of racism, Martin Luther King Jr. once said, is genocide. I don't mean to be the bad news bears, but we are living in an America that necessitated the Black Lives Matter movement. A country in which the simple declaration that people who look like me are worth saving has become controversial. Enough. I want to be a catalyst for change, to help cure the systemic injustices that have led to the tragic deaths of too many of my brothers and sisters, prisons popping up like fast food chains, inequalities in healthcare and education, the forced facts of who gets to live where, the ingrained ignorance of Americans who can't see beyond skin color. I believe an important part of the cure, maybe the most crucial part of it, is to talk to each other. Let me take a second to break down what I mean. I don't mean chatting about whatever. I mean a two-way dialogue based on trust and respect, full of information exchanged and perspectives shared. The goal here is to build relationships, and ultimately, to help us recognize each other's humanity. I'd bet some Dallas Cowboy season tickets that it's tough, if not impossible, to hold bigoted thoughts about someone whose humanity you recognize. I'd double down. It would take some next-level self-deluding to discriminate against someone you respect enough to listen to. In these pages, the only bad question is the unasked question. You'll see that each chapter starts with a question, each of which is from a real email I've received in response to my video series. Same title as this book, if you got here without watching. I appreciate every one of them, because wherever the askers are coming from, they came to learn. If things go the way I want, you'll leave this book with an increased understanding of race. You will have more empathy and grant people more grace. And if you have more empathy and are more gracious, then you'll be less judgmental. And if you're less judgmental, then your judgment is less likely to play itself out in racism. Now, there are degrees of racism. If you're reading this, I imagine you're not a white hood wearing, Confederate statue defending, Dukes of Hazzard idolizing, tiki torch toting, N-word barking first-degree racist. However, you might fall between the second or third degree, meaning someone who is not overtly racist, but is on the spectrum between a person who is a little racially insensitive or ignorant and someone who holds deeply ingrained negative ideas about people of other races or ethnicities. Even if none of the above descriptions fit you, you might know someone they do fit. Pause. Did that make you uncomfortable to hear? Look, I won't lie to you. We're only getting further into the weeds from here. We're going to talk about slavery a lot. We're going to talk about privilege and complicity and so on. But getting uncomfortable is the whole idea. Everything great is birthed through discomfort. Think about it. A mother suffers no small amount of trouble for 9 months before enduring the mega pain of labor and birthing the world's next great hero genius. I endured years and years of grueling football practices, many of them under a scorching Texas sun, before I made it to the NFL. Most of our major accomplishments are accompanied by some form of discomfort. If we truly want to treat this 400-year-old American virus that has been doing its work since the first stolen Africans landed in Jamestown in 1619, then we are all going to have to buckle in. Before we get this thing going, a couple of caveats from me. I don't profess to know everything about black culture, or to speak for every black experience in this country. I'm aware that I moved through the world as a man, that I lived in affluent neighborhoods, and that I attended a private school growing up. Add that to the fact that I'm from a home of first-generation immigrants, which is a different experience from a black person whose family has been in America for generations. All told, mine is a particular perspective. That said,